Rigo. Article 11. Justifying circumstances. The following do not incur any criminal liability. Number 1. Anyone who acts in defense of his person or rights, provided that the following circumstances concur. First, unlawful aggression. Second, reasonable necessity of the means employed to prevent or repeat it. Third, lack of sufficient provocation on the part of the person defending himself. Number 2, anyone who acts in defense of the person or rights of the spouse, ascendants, descendants, or legitimate, natural, or adopted brothers by sisters, or his relatives by affinity in the same degrees, and those consanguinity within the fourth civil degree, provided that the first and second requisite prescribed in the next preceding circumstance are present, and the further requisite in case the provocation was given by the person attacked that the one making defense has no part therein. Number 3. Anyone who acts in defense of the person or rights of the stranger, provided that the first and second requisite mentioned in the first circumstance of this article are present, and that the person defending be not induced by the revenge, resentment, or other civil motive. Number 4. Any person who, in order to avoid civil or injury, does not act which causes damage to another, provided that the following requisites are present. First, that the evil sought to be avoided actually exists. Second, that the injury feared be greater than that done to avoid it. Third, that there be no other practical and less harmful means of preventing it. Number 5. Any person who acts in the fulfillment of a duty or in the lawful exercise of a right or office. Number 6. Any person who acts in obedience to an order issued by a superior for some lawful purpose. Article 12. Circumstances which exempt from criminal liability. The following are exempt from criminal liability. Number 1. The imbecile or an insane person, unless the latter has acted during a lucid interval, which the imbecile or an insane person has committed an act which the law defines as a felony, the court shall order his confinement in one of the hospitals or asylums established for persons thus afflicted, which he shall not be permitted to live without first obtaining the permission of the same court. A person under 9 years of age. Number 3. A person over 9 years of age and under 15, unless the has acted and discernment, in which case such minor shall be proceeded against in accordance with the provision of Article 80 of this code, which such minor is adjudged to be criminally irresponsible. The court is conformably with the provision of this and the preceding paragraph, shall commit him to the care and custody of the family, who shall be charged with his surveillance and education otherwise. He shall be committed to the care of the same situation of person mentioned in the said Article 80. Number 4. Any person who, while performance a lawful act with due care, causes an injury by mere accident without fault or intention of causing it. Number 5. Any person who acts under the compulsion or irresistible force. Number 6. Any person who acts under the impulse of an uncontrollable fear or unequal or greater injury. Number 7. Any person who fails to perform an act required by law when prevented some lawful insurable cause. Chapter 3. Circumstances which mitigate criminal liability. Article 13. Mitigating circumstances. The following are mitigating circumstances. Number 1. Those mentioned in the preceding chapter when all the requisite necessary to justify or to exempt from criminal liability in the prospective causes are not attendant. Number 2, that the offender is under 18 years of age and over 70 years in the case of the minor. He shall be proceeded against in accordance with the provision of Article 80. Number 3, that the offender had no intention to commit so grave and wrong as that committed. Number 4, that the sufficient provocation or threat on the part of the offended party immediately preceded the act. Number 5, that the act was committed and the immediate vindication of a grave offense to the one committing the felony, his spouse, ascendants, or relative by affinity within the same degrees. Number 6, that of having acted upon an impulse as so powerful as naturally to have produced passion or of obfuscation. Number 7, that the offender must voluntarily surrender himself to a person in authority or his agent, on that he had voluntarily confessed his guilt before the court prior to the presentation of the evidence for the prosecution. Number 8, that the offender is deaf and dumb, blind, or otherwise suffering some physical defect which thus restrict his means of action, defense, or communication with those fellow beings. Number 9, such illness of the offender would diminish the exercise the will power of the offender without however depriving him of the consciousness of the act. Number 10, and finally, any other circumstances of a similar nature and analogous to those above. Ikaw, bibi. 14. The advantage be taken by the offender of his public position. Number 2, that the act be committed with contempt or with insult to the public authorities. Number 3, that the act be committed with insult or disregard of the respect due to the offended party or his account of his rank, age, or sex, or that is be committed in the dwelling of the offended party if the latter has not given provocation. Number 4, that the act be committed with abuse of confidence or abuse ungratefulness. Number 5, that the crime be committed in the palace of the chief executive or in his presence or where the public authorities are engaged in the discharge of their duties or in the place dedicating to the religious worship. Number 6, that the crime be committed in the night time or in the uninhabited place or by a band. That the crime be committed in the night time or in an uninhabited place or by a band whenever such circumstances will facilitate the commission of an offense. Number 7, whenever more than 3 armed malefactors shall acted together in the commission of an offense, it shall be denied to have been commitment by a band. Number 7, that the crime be committed on the occasion of a conflagration, shipwreck, earthquake, epidemic, or other calamity of misfortune. Number 8, that the crime be committed with the act of the armed men of person who ensure or afford impunity. That the accused is a recidivist. A recidivist is one who at the time of Number 9, that the accused is a recidivist. A recidivist is one who at the night time of trial for one crime shall have been previously convicted by the final judgment of another crime embracing the same title of his code. Number 10, that the offender has been previously punished by an offense to which the law attaches an equal or greater penalty of for 2 or more crimes to which it attaches a lighter penalty. Number 11, that the crime be committed with in consideration of a prize, reward, or promise. Number 12, that the crime be committed by means of inundation, fire, poison, explosion, stranding of a vessel, or international damage thereto, derailment of a locomotive, or by use of any other artifice involving great waste and ruin. Article 13, that the act be committed with evidence premeditation. 14, that the craft, fraud, or disguise be employed. 15, that the advantage be taken of superior strength or means be employed to weaken the defense. Number 16, that the act be committed with treachery. There is treachery when the offender commits any of the crimes against the person, employing means, method, or forms in the execution thereof which tend directly and especially to incur its execution without risk to himself arising from the defense which the offended party might make. 17, that means of employed or circumstances brought about which an ingenuity to the natural effects of the act. 18, that the crime be committed after an unlawful entry. There is an unlawful entry when an entrance is effected by a way not intended for the purpose. 19, that as means to the commission of a crime, a whole roof, floor, door, or window be broken. 20, that the crime be committed with the aid of the person under 15 years of age or means of motor vehicle, airship, or other similar means. 21, that the wrong done is the commission of the crime be deliberately augmented by causing other wrong not necessary for its commission. Chapter 5, Alternative Circumstances. Article 15. Their concept, alternative circumstances, are those which must be taken into consideration and aggravating or mitigating according to the nature, effects of the crime, and the other condition attending its commission. There are relationship, intoxication, and the degree of instruction and education of the offender. The alternative circumstances of relationship shall be taken into consideration when the offended party in the spouse, ascendants, descendants, legitimate, natural, or adopted brother or sister or relative by affinity in the same degrees and of the offender.